Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Behind the Mic, story time with Lappy. And as I look through my book of memories, and I've got a few of these. We haven't talked about the comedians that I interviewed in my time here at the WPLR. I used to interview everybody that came through that would perform at any venue, the Harvard Civic Center at that point, New Haven Coliseum, the Palace. And we did a lot of shows with comedians, which was really kind of cool. And it was great to have them all come up on the show. And I remember one week in particular, it was a Saturday Night Live kind of thing, because it was two guys from Saturday Night Live that performed together a lot, but also used to do side gigs, go out and tour. And I'm talking about Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon, Hans and Franz. And I both had them, I think it was in a week or 2 weeks of each other. And they kind of crisscrossed because they're out there touring. Both guys couldn't have been any funnier. And I'm telling you right now, it's hard to interview a comedian sometimes because you get them getting into their act. And before you know it, you're sitting there as an audience member, forgetting that you got to talk to these guys and interview them. You're just laughing so much. But Dana Carvey was an incredible guy. He was just so funny, spontaneous, almost manic. And like this was when he came up to the station. This must have been around like 1990 or so, maybe in the early 90s. And I can't remember if they were still on SNL or not. I think they were at that point. And then Kevin Nealon, who I still try to stay in contact with, one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet in your life. I mean, we started talking about stuff. Then when we talked more off air than we did on the air. We'd have him on. We'd be talking about his upcoming gig or whatever. And then we'd play a record or play a song. And then we'd be chatting. And we're talking about going out to dinner in New York. Hey, come speak. He couldn't have been a nicer guy. And he's still like that to this day. So with the comedians, they were my favorites. My ultimate favorite, though, was when I actually got to travel with Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong. And that was quite an experience. And because, well, you can imagine why. And I remember I picked him up at the airport at Tweed. He flew into Tweed. He was going to play at Joker's Wild, I think was a comedy club back then. And so I picked him up. And actually, it was the same family station wagon, Volvo station wagon, that I picked Jack Bruce up in. This car's becoming famous. I wish I still had it. So when I picked him up, I had my two daughters in the back of the car, and he kept on looking at him going, "Oh, you boys are cute. You boys are really cute." Kept on calling them boys, and they were just going, he was just mugging it up with my daughters. They were like, maybe 6 and 8 at the time. But then again, I dropped the kids off. We went and dropped them off at the hotel. Of course, we were driving around New Haven, imbibing. And it was funny because I saw a friend of mine that used to work at the station, and it was sort of a surreal sight for him to see me in this station wagon that was all filled with smoke, and as we rolled the windows down, it was me and Tommy Chong. I mean, it didn't get any cooler than that. Just a great story. And there's more comic stories, too, that we can tell you at another date. But for right now, that's all I can think of. We'll see you next time.